see Joe, you have to convince him to do a baby Daredevil drawing for us.
I could do that. Yeah. What makes you think I was?
You think you should, guys?
Speaking about being a parent, your mom, sure. We're going to talk about your mom.
She's probably live streaming this from London, right?
Charlie's mom is adorable. Is it true that she sends you bad reviews?
No. My mom is just great. She's such great value. She's a really a wonderful influence in my life. Both my parents, but she finds the humor in this being an actor and being semi-famous and all that kind of stuff. She doesn't get wrapped up in it, and so she occasionally likes to send me the comments that people make that aren't maybe very flattering. And when I first, my favorite one, a few of you may know, and because I've said it before, when I got the job, the Daredevil job, it was announced, and then you scroll down, there's all the comments below, and she sent me one that was, someone had said, I don't know this guy, but I don't like his face. And I was already feeling I was immediately, because you get the job of Daredevil, you have about 10 minutes of elation, and then you go, oh crap. And so I was already feeling a little nervous, and that didn't help.
I think your face is a joke.
I think
so. Eldon, Matt, Charlie, Daredevil, he's got Karen, he's got Claire, Rosario Dawson, it's Claire, there's Electra in his life, but I gotta tell you, I love the relationship with Darcy, the bits and pieces that we've seen of you guys, and I don't know what's gonna happen in season 3, and if I did, I wouldn't talk about it, but I just love the chemistry between you guys. I thought it was really fantastic. Amy Rupper, who plays Darcy, is really great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. If you had as playing Foggy, again, we are not saying what's going to happen. What would you like to see happen with that Darcy, Foggy relationship? Where you prefer Foggy, and is it Foggy Karen? Is it someone else? What do you think?
Well, I really enjoy working with her, and she actually is sort of a weird thing, where she had dated a friend of mine back in the day, so I sort of knew her or knew of her sort of throughout our group, and yeah, she's really great, and it's nice when you work with someone to have a little bit of a familiarity, so I would love to. Honestly, man, I'll just leave it up to the professionals, man. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We're left on cliff. Speaking of cliffhangers, the funny thing is, I don't know if fans realize, but you guys, when you go into a season, you don't necessarily know where it's going to go, right? I mean, so you get the scripts, and that's when you find out a lot of the reveals of what's happening to your character and other characters. Charlie, for you, what was one of the biggest surprises when you got a script and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that's happening? And by the way, spoiler warning if you haven't seen the first 2 seasons. So.
Yeah, in many ways it's quite fun because we get to read, the scripts and we get to experience what the audience will experience in watching the show. Because if you got given a kind of an outline, you're reading a 2-3 page document, very brief outline of an entire season, and so the drama isn't quite as intense as it can be if you're watching it hour by hour. So as the scripts come in and we read them, there's often texting each other, or Deborah and I are texting about what just happened. I think the one that kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit was the end of, I think, episode 8, might have been 7 of season 2, with the hole, the big hole, and the way that was described. And in my imagination, and I thought they brought it to life beautifully as well. But I just remember thinking, I just had a moment of because by then I was really invested in the comics, and so I knew about this. I was kind of hoping, waiting for this mythical element to become part of the show, because I think it's vital if you're going to make Daredevil to have that and for it to be dealt with appropriately. And so just with the kind of the reveal of this weird, never-ending hole in the middle of Manhattan, and I just remember thinking, cool. And I hope we get to find, I don't know, because I haven't been told anything. No, I know. But I hope gets to be, I hope that hole is explored more.
I'll explore it.
We fill it. We fill it really good. And in season 3, it's just dump trucks. Thank you. We're done. Elden, what about you? Any reveals? Any reveals in the script when you went, oh man, you know?
Well, you know, I sort of don't like to really know what my, know what my character's not supposed to know. So I kind of, as you know, we get the scripts, I sort of look at what I need to know for the scenes that we're going to be shooting, and I sort of wait till afterwards. So I didn't really have any of those big surprises as we were going through. I gotta say, man, you know, it's I've been surprised, you know, every episode we do, there's always something cool, there's always, and not just for, you know, for Charlie, but for every character in the show, there's always, you know, everyone's got their own thing going on, and it's really well done, and so yeah.
You know, both of you guys have had a tremendous number of scenes with Deb Randwald as Karen. Tell us a little bit about her, and also you talk about EJ, right? Because she brings a unique perspective into this too. You know, I don't know if you guys have any stories, because I mean, I love watching Deb on camera. She's just such an amazing performer, and it really encapsulates Karen.
Deborah's literally one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, so nice that, in fact, when I first met her, I was like, this is not for real. Like, she's definitely, and she really is that nice. I mean, it's really incredible. We're actually really lucky. Everyone on our cast, not just our cast, but the entire crew, everyone's really cool, and there's not a lot of ego, and so it makes it really fun, and just an absolute pleasure to come to work every day. And she's great, man. She's really great.
Yeah, I mean, what Elden said, I can't say enough good things about Deborah. But first of all, I think, again, it's not an easy role because Karen Page is kind of so earnest. And so often as a character, being that earnest isn't that cool. But I just think she brings such life to the what she calls the Scooby Gang. You know, she's such a professional. She's got so many great questions, and also she's the biggest fan on set. You know what I mean? Like, she, for years before she was on Daredevil, she was cosplaying at these things. You know what I mean? So she came to we went to Comic-Con in Chicago, and she came and she brought her teeth, her fangs, from True Blood. You know, and I was just like, what a cool thing to do, you know? So she wore her fangs for a lot of the photos.
She's also really smart, and, you know, I'm playing a lawyer, and I'm totally uneducated because I'm an actor, and a lot of times I have to ask her, hey, Deborah, A, how do you pronounce this word, and B, what does it mean?
Yeah. And Deb, but, you know, and Deb is, you know, she has a lot of nerd cred. I mean, her boyfriend, EJ Scott, is a huge comics nerd. And also, she has a unique perspective because EJ is legally blind, right? So her boyfriend in real life is kind of Matt Murdock, and he even looks a little bit like Matt Murdock, you know.
So he came to the premiere dressed as Matt Murdock.
He did. Before we get to fan questions, I want to ask you, because you had, you know, I was there at the beginning with you, watching you go through all the preparation to become Daredevil, and obviously, you know, you had to hit the gym and you had to buff up like me, you know.
Totally, I did. Yeah.
We have the same trainer. Okay, we have the same trainer. This is the before. That is the after. And you know, I know you brought your dialect coach in, your actor, you got so entrenched. But what you talk about quite often, that I think was probably the most important thing, was learning to be blind, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess that took a lot of work, and
you had a coach, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I worked with a guy called a wonderful man called Joe Quesada. He himself has been legally blind for 20 years. You know, I just spent a lot of time with the guy, and we would go out in the city of New York, and I'd be blindfolded, and you know, the joke is it was literally a case of the blind leading the blind. You know, and I'd film him, and you know, whenever I have a question, whenever I have to do something in the show, like make a cup of tea, or you know, play pool in season 2, for example, I always call up Joe, and we you know, he either films himself doing it or he comes to set and shows me and stuff. You know, I think that's really, really important to get that right. You know, Daredevil, one of the great things about Daredevil is he's one of the only characters who has a disability, and so he's immensely important to many people who have grown up with any sort of adversity. So to get that right is obviously of the utmost importance.
Right. But even the way that you had to look into the camera, right? Because you had followed Joe's eyeline when he was talking, and you know.
The first thing that I did for the first 2 episodes is I had some contact lenses made that looked exactly like my eyes, but blacked it out, so I couldn't literally see anything. Which was really helpful for me and really unhelpful for everyone on set. And it was like, because you just don't have time to take them in and take them out, you know, all day long. And so there was like, for the first episode, and bearing in mind, no one knows me at this point, we're all meeting each other. And like within 3 days, I'm like clearly the most annoying person. because I'm having to be led around everywhere, you know, in between takes. And so I ended up getting rid of them and just kind of, you know, doing it myself and trying to figure out, and you know, just figuring out where my eyes have to be based on where the camera position is in order for it to appear like Matt is not making eye contact.
All right, so we'll take a couple of fan questions, guys. Just giving you a heads up right now, just because of the way television works, and if you're asking us questions about future upcoming shows, episodes, and stuff, we cannot say anything. So I don't want you to be disappointed when you get to the mic. So just letting you know right now. So
I don't know about Joe, but we don't know anything.
I know everything.
We genuinely don't know anything.
I don't even tell them. I'm not allowed. So okay, first question. What's up?
Hey guys, welcome to Toronto. I'm a big fan of your show, and it seems like you guys have such excellent chemistry together. Like you work well together, great friendship. This is sort of a two-parter. What's your favorite thing about each other, and then your biggest pet peeve about each other?
See, I can answer the pet peeve. I already know what he's going to say about the pet peeve.
Here we go. Well, no. Here's the thing. I'm a very lazy guy. I'm always pitching the idea that I'm sitting down in the scene, or maybe even laying down. I'm also a grumpy dude, you know what I mean? And I like to complain a lot. And Charlie never complains, never. And like he'll be on top of a roof all night long in freezing cold weather, and fighting or whatever. And I guess that's my biggest pet peeve, is that he never complains, so I feel like I can't complain. So could you complain a little bit?
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Your question was what's our favorite thing?
What's your favorite thing about each other, then your biggest pet peeves?
Wow, man.
Well, for me, with Charlie, he's just a really easy guy to talk to. I was, some stuff going on in my personal life during the first season, and he was just a tremendous help and always listened and never made me feel like it was a burden in any way. And yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
I think that when you're doing when you're doing a film or a play or particularly a TV show, because it takes so much longer to shoot, you want to have a nice kind of be able to. In order to do good work on a consistent basis, you need to feel like you can trust. It's a trust exercise, ultimately. And if you feel in any way judged, or in any way unsafe, or in any way kind of not given the space and the freedom to be experimental with your work, then the work always suffers. And one of the things that Elden and I have is that we have a really open dialogue. So if we want to try something, there's no ego around that. Like it's not. I can say, look, can we try it this way? And Elden will be up for it, or he'll be like, listen, I don't want to do it like that. Can we try it? Can we make it more like this? And we'll sit down beforehand often and talk about it. And just having that open dialogue and like caring deeply about someone, I think it makes the work much better. I guess my biggest pet peeve is what Elden said about himself, is that he's always looking to sit down in the scene.
So can I give Charlie some of my lines?
So Charlie, you basically say, can we play the scene this way? And Elden says, yeah. And Elden says, well, but can I sit down? Right? Thanks. Next question.
Hey guys, my name is Malcolm. It's nice to see you, Charlie and Elden. I have to say, since the Defenders will be out soon, I'm really looking forward to the meeting between Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Out of the four Avengers, I'm really excited for those two to meet the most. It's just, those two, they seem completely different, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the two will measure up to each other. So I'd like to ask you, Charlie, and this could be for Elden too, how do you think Daredevil will measure up to Jessica, and same with Foggy, because at the end of season 2, like, you met Hogarth, so I think it's like bound to happen that they could meet eventually, possibly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, great question, man. You know, I thought I love Jessica Jones. I thought Kristen Wiig did an extraordinary job with that part. But I love how you're thinking, because the Matt Murdock Jessica Jones is gonna be an interesting relationship. Like, I can see them kind of getting on, you know what I mean? But they also, like, they're two people who they're not particularly friendly. Do you know what I mean? And so that's gonna be cool. The relationship that I'm most interested to see flesh out is the Matt Murdock Danny Rand stuff. I just think that you know, that kind of, yeah, right. And I met Finn Jones the other day, so that was. So I just think that in the comics that's a lovely relationship. So I'd like to see how that kind of works out on the screen.
Thank you.
John, so speaking of relationships, I mean, I think one of the most intense relationships in our show was between Daredevil and the Punisher, and John Bernthal. I remember when John came in to read for the part, I mean, we were all just sitting there, at least I was sitting there going, I cannot wait to see Sean and Charlie just go at each other, you know? And I mean, like in physical battles, I'm talking about, you know, actor to actor kind of thing, because you're both really intense, but it's you almost seem like 180 degrees and different, you know, in your approaches. You know, what was it like working with John? I mean, I found it to be an incredibly funny but intense duo. You know, a mixture of both.
You know, John's one of the best actors of our generation. You know, I think I've been watching his work for a long time, and I think the guy's world class. You know, I don't think it gets much better than that. And he did. I thought he did such a great job with his part as the Punisher. And now he has his own show. You know, during the first season of Daredevil, Stephen DeKnight and I would have conversations, and we talk about Matt Murdock, this Daredevil, and this show was one bad day away from being Frank Castle, right? And this is at a point where we had no idea that there would be a second season, and that the Punisher would appear in that. So going into season 2, knowing that the Punisher was going to be there, I remember thinking this is going to be interesting, because this is ultimately this is going to be an anniversary of Matt Murdock's, but it's basically himself, you know, in many ways. And I just had a blast with him, man. We had such a great time. That stuff on the rooftop in episode 3. You know, I was chained to a rooftop for 3 nights, to a chimney for 3 nights in a row.
And he never complained.
Sorry, I can't top that.
The piles after that wasn't nice, but you know, get them on.
Hi, love the show. I know we heard Matt already speak Spanish on the show, and we heard Foggy mention that he can speak Punjabi. Are we ever going to actually hear him speak Punjabi on the show?
Well, Joe, am I allowed to answer that question, or am I going to get locked up in Marvel jail? I don't know. I have no idea.
But you know what? Good suggestion.
I know there will be a lot of excited little Punjabi kids to see someone on TV speak Punjabi.
We'll make sure that you're sitting down.
Hey, if I'm sitting down, I'm in.
Reading a book, chilling out, you know. So,
Great question.
Hi there.
My name is Lily, and I'm just wondering if there's any character in the Marvel universe that you guys would like to maybe work with in the future, and anything like that.
Okay, so you guys can answer this. Strictly hypothetical,
Yeah,
right?
Hypothetical. Just based on your preferences.
Or you don't have to answer.
You know, I think based on Matt Murdock's history. Black Widow would be cool.
I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but I would love to work with that dude.
You know, speaking of characters, Vincent D'Onofrio. You know, aside from obviously being just a brilliant performer, brilliant actor, encapsulating the key, embracing the role, just sort of behind the scenes, in between the scenes, he was sort of like a mentor in a lot of ways, wasn't he? I used to hear stories you guys would tell about like just Vincent sort of like, you know, breaking the monotony of the day. You know, do you have anything, any good D'Onofrio stories? Clean ones, you know.
In season 2, you know, I had very little to do with Vincent. I think he was only in 3 episodes, but in season 2 we had a scene in the prison where I go to visit him. And the scene is kind of divided in half. I come in and I do most of the speaking, and I basically tell him how things are going to pan out. And then he almost kills me. And the way that we shot it, and by now Vincent and I are friends, and I'm, you know, but as you say, he's a tour de force. He, like John, is one of the great actors of his generation, and I've learned so much from him. So the way we shot the scene is they shot my coverage first, so we did that, you know, 5, 10 times, whatever it is, and then we turned the camera around and we came onto Vincent, and he has this kind of diatribe where he gets very angry and he smashes me on the table at the end of the scene. Anyway, before we started, he called the director over for his close-up, when they were doing his close-up, and he basically said, whatever, don't cut the camera, just keep rolling. I'm going to go in and out a little bit, but you'll get everything you need. And I remember thinking, interesting. I don't know quite what that means, but, and you know, because we've done the wide shot, we've done the scene a few times, and he'd been, you know, he's a pro, so he knows when he has to bring it, right? So, for his close-up, you know, he started the scene, and then he kind of walked away from the table, which had nothing to do with the scene, and the director knew just keep filming, and then he kind of hit the wall a couple of times, and he screamed a little bit, and he came back and he started again, and then he went through to the end, and then he went back up into the middle, and then he repeated the first paragraph, and then he did the last paragraph, and then he walked away again, and it went on for a long time. But he just got himself into such a rage and such a state. And it was a masterclass in acting, you know, and it was right. Eventually he finished, and they cut the camera, and that was it. We moved on at the end of the day, because he got everything in that one take. And it was, I remember, I learned something that day. I tried it. I didn't do it quite as well, but I tried it.
Actually, I was there the day you guys were filming that, and it still blows my mind, right? Because it goes from literally like beating your head against the table, and it's like cut for lunch, like, hey Joe, how you doing, man? How's it going? Hey Vincent, Nora, good to see you. It's a trip. So thank you. Thanks.
Hi, I'm from Vancouver, so I'm like super nervous and I'm excited to see you guys. So my question is for all of you, well, for Matt and Foggy. So in last season, we saw you two take on someone like the Punisher as a client, who would, by most people, be considered like a gray character. Is there anyone that you could see from the Marvel Universe that you would take on as a client, like someone like Winter Soldier or the Hulk? Like, as like your characters, not.
As Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah, as Nelson and Murdoch.
I mean,
there's so many people.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, any of them, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the cool thing about this Marvel world is like, everybody who plays these characters are all really good actors. They're all people that I really want to work with. So I don't know, man. That's a tough question. Anybody?
I mean, I would say it would be cool to take on Tony Stark, because then we could go to Stark Tower.
How would he do?
My second question would be, if you could choose a partner between Foggy or the Punisher, who would it be?
What's the question?
Between Punisher and Foggy, who would make the better partner?
I'm not answering that.
Damn, man, that's cold. I'm sorry.
I would choose Foggy because he's
She choose Foggy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hanya, and firstly, I would love to hear Foggy speak Punjabi in the show. And yeah, so I was wondering, since a lot of these dark vigilante characters do struggle with morality, and a lot of these stories are similar, and I was wondering, how does Daredevil's Catholicism make his struggle and experience different from, say, Batman?
That's a great question, especially because Charlie, you were up Roman Catholic, right? You know, so it is a really, and that's one of the things that I always love about Daredevil, you know, and Matt Murdock. So that's right.
Oh, yeah, great. Can you make it work? No, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. Yeah, really good question. You know, I think it's one of the other things I love about Matt Murdock is that he has this religious background, and I think that's one of the reasons that making this character on a show rather than in a film, having 13 hours, 26 hours to explore these characters, I think has benefited us so much, because one of the things that I find most interesting that we did with this show is that we've got these superheroes who go out and they do the stuff that we love, we see them kick ass and all that kind of stuff. But then we get to go home with them and see how they feel about what they're doing. And, you know, some of my favorite scenes are when we see Matt, you know, having been out all night, you know, beating up bad guys, and then he comes home and he sits with his feelings. You know, what a cool idea to see, and we see a bit of shame, and we see a bit of vulnerability with him, and we know, we learn and we know that there's this cloud hanging over him, there's this doubt that what he's doing is the right thing to do or not, you know, and how is he going to reconcile that? You know, one of the things that Joe and I talked about, there's a scene at the end of season 1 where he's put away the costume and then he goes back to it under the stairs. He brings it out and he opens it up, and then, you know, right at the end of the scene, while the camera's on him waiting to figure out what he's going to do, you know, he makes the sign of the cross, and he heads on out there, because that's the best he can do in that moment, you know what I mean? That's the most, he can ask for help, but he's doing it anyway, do you know what I mean? And I just think it's, for an actor, it's awesome to have that you know, that being pulled in all these different directions. It makes it so much more interesting to play.
It's funny, because I had that scene here listed as something, one of the things I want to talk about, which was the beautiful thing about these characters is that you know, it is this constant metamorphosis and growth of the characters from publishing to the Netflix show. And every creator brings something new to it, right? You know, Stanley created it, and then you have guys like Frank Miller and Brian Bendis, Kevin Smith, who all added a little something more to Matt. And when I saw that scene, I saw it in the dailies, where Charlie just sort of, you know, he kneels down and opens it up and he does the sign of the cross before putting on a devil suit. I was like, those are the kind of things that just add on to a character. Now, was that improv, or because it wasn't in the script. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the script.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
I told him to do it. That'd be a good idea.
There you go. Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, so Daredevil has some of the best and interesting, well-executed fight scenes that I've seen on film. So my question, Charlie, is did you come into the show with a martial arts background, or is that something you had to learn for the role? And then the second part of the question is, who do you think would win in a brawl, yourself or Matt Damon, or not Matt Damon, or Matt Damon?
Dude, you think Matt Damon's ass.
Who's in the brawl?
Ben Affleck. Daredevil.
You're on your own, buddy.
The only part of the question that I'm going to answer is the beginning, which is, you know, I had no training. I had done no martial arts in my life, and I've had the opportunity to learn some as we've been doing the show, but not in a traditional way. Like, I haven't really had the opportunity to learn an art form and study it. I literally just turn up on set, and the stunt coordinator and my stunt double teach me the routine. I know that they incorporate all sorts of different martial arts. They've got Kung Fu in there, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, you name it. It's all in there because Matt Murdock as a character has learned all of these art forms. But I have no idea what I'm doing. So, to me it's punch, kick, headbutt kind of thing. But I really love that aspect of the filmmaking process. The days where we come in to do fight scenes are some of my favorite. I really love getting stuck in and involved, and there's some things I'm allowed to do, there's other things I'm not allowed to do. One of my favorite moments was in season 1, episode 7, the fight with Stick. Obviously it was the first fight scene where I didn't have a mask, so they had to use more of me than they usually would. So I had to learn, I had a little bit more time to learn that fight. And there's a bit where Stick throws Matt through the coffee table. And so they built 3 of these coffee tables out of balsa wood, so you hit them and they kind of disintegrate, right? Because they only had 3, they're expensive to make. Chris, my amazing stunt double, Chris Brewster, has to do it. So he did the first one, but it turned out perfectly. It came out really well. So I was like, guys, let me do one. So they let me go through the coffee table. And I gotta tell you, balsa wood kind of hurts.
I do have the answer to your question, though. The fight between Charlie and Ben Affleck, the winner would be the fans. There we go. But in truth, Matt Damon and King will both your asses, bro. But speaking of fight scenes, I'll just relay a story, but then because I never asked you why you guys did this. But the now, I think, legendary, was it 8 minutes long, the fight scene in the corridor, right? 7.5 minutes long. So I'm watching the dailies, and I see that there's like, there's 8 takes of this. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it's one take, then they do the other half of it, and every single one of these takes was a full take from start to finish. With yourself and Chris Brewster, who I don't think we could never say enough about Chris Brewster. Chris is superhuman as a stuntman. So I sat there and I watched every single one of these to see what sort of variations, and they were very small variations, and then we get to like the 6th take. And I wish I had the video here, I've shown it a couple of times. We get to the 6th, so you go through the entire thing from beginning. Daredevil walks in, he kicks in the door, he goes in, gunshots, the door explodes, stuntmen come rolling out, here comes Daredevil out, fight, cameras turn, all this sort of stuff. Then more fight in the hallway, and then Daredevil goes through the hall, then you come out, right? And Matt comes out and then knocks on the door and goes in to where the kid is, and you say, don't worry, I'm here to rescue you, your father sent me. And you come out, and instead of carrying the little kid, you're carrying a PA, like the actual full-grown adult. By the way, I was drinking coffee, and I did a spit take. I couldn't stop laughing.
So the story behind that, real quick, is that, as you say, this is the whole day was dedicated to this one scene. They'd been rehearsing it for weeks. The whole morning we were rehearsing just the camera moves, and then the second half of the day, we had to film this scene. And take 2, we got all. Take 1 didn't work, something went wrong immediately. Take 2, we got all the way through. It was like just after lunch, and we were like, that was kind of good. Kind of got that, and pretty much everything went to plan. And we looked at it, and we all sat down and we watched it, and everyone was like, it was good, right? That was good. And then the stunt coordinator was like, we could do better. we can definitely do better. So then we started doing it again, and we'd get like a minute from the end, like 5 times in a row, and something would go wrong. And now it's got suddenly now it's midnight, and we've made this commitment to do it better, and it's like, and the day's just not ending, and we finally do 1 more take, and the little boy, he had to go home because it's midnight. So when I get into the room, I get in there and there's no kid. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I I didn't know that when the door opens, they were able to morph that. So I came out as a joke holding the PA. But that take, that was the one they used, the last take, the midnight take. They just put the kid from the first take on the end.
All right, guys, we only have time for like 2 more quick questions. So,
what's up, Peter Parker?
Hey.
Hi, my name is Hayden, and it's an honor to be in the same room with
And you, man.
But my question is for Charlie and Eldon. When Captain America Civil War, which side do you think your characters would be on?
Civil liberties?
I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like...
Or safety?
I don't know.
Team Cap.
Even Captain America? Yeah, I like Chris Evans a lot, so I'd like to...
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Last one. Sorry, guys. We're being told that we're done.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
My question is for Charlie. Matt's moral conflict of whether or not to kill is obviously a major element of the show. However, given that Daredevil has killed in the comics, can you think of any circumstances that your Daredevil would ever kill? And how do you think this would change him?
You know, in season 1, episode 2, when he throws the guy off the roof, that's a gamble. You know what I mean?
Hang on a second. You've actually thrown several people off roofs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, you know, I think a lot. You know, I think his no killing record is slightly by chance at this point. And also, there's a couple of times where there's a scene in episode 4 of season 2 where he goes to rescue the Punisher, kind of thing, right? In the catacombs, and as he comes in, he beats up a couple of guys, knocks them out, right? And then he goes in, he gets Frank, he goes to a couple other rooms, he beats up more people, he has a quick conversation with Frank, they then beat up some people together, and then as they're leaving, those 2 guys are still knocked out. If they're not dead, they are seriously brain damaged. Okay? If you get knocked out and you're still knocked out half an hour later, that's not good. So it's a slightly loose moral compass at times, do you know what I mean?
And by the way, I think it's season 3. We're gonna have Foggy throw some people off the roof just to even things up.
No, maybe. Come on. I just want to relax. Foggy's maybe get a hammock for Foggy. We'll get a hammock for Foggy in season 3.
Foggy's actually been in a fight scene in this show. You remember the baseball in season 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't actually show him throwing it because it was just too much.
I gotta be a fastball.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Thanks, Toronto.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming. Charlie Cox, Elden Henson, guys.
Keep it real.